So, here we are again. Ben and Rhys are issuing hobby challenges like they're both some sort of NPC halcyons from Skyrim, and as a witless peasant, I have accepted. The challenge issued by Ben and Rhys is to make the Phobos Marines interesting, which, implied shade aside, is not something that gets my hobby juices flowing. I already have some Phobos Marines that I recently finished painting, and the idea of painting yet more power armor is a real energy drain. So I sat down for an evening to think about what I wanted to do. Perhaps it was the TV show I was watching. Perhaps it was the general ambiance of the evening. Or the entire jar of pickled eggs that I ate. In the pickled egg-fueled fever dreams that ensued, it came to me.
The Dark Mechanicum. Don't forget the recycling tomorrow as well.
Instead of trying to kitbash the Phobos Marines that I was already a little tired of, I thought I would try and mash together a Dark Mechanicum kill team of weird servitor marine killer slave things, and because I like Nurgle, I thought I'd line them with Nurgle. I used these as my standard Phobos Marines, but I wanted the Reaver to look a little bit different, so I just kind of slammed him together with random stuff I had and a blob of green stuff in the middle, and he ended up as my favourite. And here's a little side-by-side to show which models they're meant to represent and the weapons that they're carrying. The leader Kitbash is one of the lazier ones I've done. I recently attended a small tournament in Manchester that was hosted in Element Games, and I wandered around the shop in between rounds and I found this guy. He looks almost entirely Dark Mech already and suitably Nurgly as well, so I swapped out his fancier gun for a more bog-standard bolt-looking weapon that would work as either options of the sergeants, and then I removed his Admech totem axe thing and replaced it with a Nurgle icon, and he's done. I'm going to say that his belly arms are the close combat options for this guy. He's not a perfect fit, and I did put him on a 40mm base rather than a 32 one, but I imagine I won't use him in any tournaments, so I'm kind of okay with it. I can always build another one later down the line. The Veteran, I think, is my favourite model, or one of my favourites, just because of the custom gun. I like the inclusion of the custom gun rules, as you can kind of mix and match to some degree, and it's a really fun mechanic for the model, so I'm hoping to do a lot more of these kind of rules that you can sort of pick your own powers. Anyway, his main body is a Cataphront Destroyer plonked onto some Blight King's legs, with some folds of green stuff fat to kind of blend them together. I also used PVA and super glue in a few spots on the flesh to kind of nasty it up a little bit and make it look a little bit more Nurgly. For his combat blade, I again used a bit from the Blight King set, which is a must if you're a fan of Nurgle-based kitbashing, and just added that onto the arm for the Cataphront Destroyers. So this guy is going to be my Saboteur or Mine Layer, I guess. Same as the last model, he's half Cataphront Destroyer and half Blight King. I built up the arm for the Destroyer, and then I added the end of a Bulgrin's grenade launcher weapon to sort of give him a bomb-laying kind of look. I've not decided on which one I prefer, but it's doubtful I'd bring both. So he's going to double up as these. If I had to pick one though, I'd probably run the Saboteur. I've not done a deep dive into the rules yet, but at a surface scan, I think I prefer him and his rules. Another of my specialists I'm going to be doubling up, I think, is the Comms or Vox Breaker. I did initially build him just to be the Comms, but looking at it, I could probably get away with running him as either a Vox Breaker or a Comms. He has the same gun arm as everyone else that can either be the Marksman Bolt Carbine or the Oculus Bolt Carbine, and his other arm has been replaced with part from the Destroyer kit, and what I think is a Tau part at the top to represent a radar/comms device. He's my least favourite out of the kitbashers just because I know I'm going to break that comms arm off at some point. Again, at a surface glance, I was going to mainly use him as the comms specialist, as I like his comms array ability to grant 1 AP. It's a bit of a lazy kitbash for the marksman. I have the Imperium magazine subscription, and as such I've got a few spare Admech models, one of which was this guy who was originally holding an axe. I'm okay with the marksman being a little slighter than the other model, as by design he wouldn't be in the thick of things, so I swapped out his axe for the Admech sniper gun, the Transuranic Arquebus. It looks a tad unwieldy, but I imagine he uses those servo arms to steady his aim. It's not a terrible size match for a standard Primaris Marine as well, actually, although a little bit shorter. His head hits about chest height, but with his backpack on, he's basically got the same profile. So my favourite of the models is the Reaver Warrior. I didn't have any torsos left from the Cataphren destroyers, but they all come with extra armour, so I used some partial legs from a Stormcast, put them on some arms from an Adeptus Titanicus set, which worked great as weird looking robot legs. Then I made a ball of green stuff and slapped on the destroyer torso armour, and then attached some marine arms, replacing the left forearm with like a modified destroyer arm to make it look a little bit more lethal. I also added some Necron parts to its back from the Praetorian model to give it a kind of flying frame kind of thing. And then to simulate the Grapnel Gun, I added like a grapnel missile type thing that extends from the top of its Necron spine that it can use to attach to buildings and fly across the battlefield. And the gun here, I'm going to either use that as the bolt carbine or the pistol. So, they're already built. I hear you cry. But, as I remember correctly, the challenge was to also paint them, so this will be part 1. I've got to paint them as well, and I kind of want to try a different style for me, a kind of John Blanche style paint job, lots of sepia and browns, because when I think of Dark Mech and gribbly gruesomeness, I do think of his artwork, and I thought that would be a nice little challenge. Anyway, I shall dub the painting part 2, The Deuce, and it will be coming soon if I actually do get them all painted. If not, however, I will just paint one and then claim I lost the footage in some sort of bizarre accident, and I'll probably make a joke about the corruption of Nurgle, and you'll be none the wiser. Anyway, wish me luck. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. It's warm. It's warm. Why am I wearing a hat?